why I love it when Luka throws a no-look dime. Ooh, what a sight. Tell me why JJ's clipboard never lies. Tell me why Luka's making magic every night. Tell me why Crypto.com is rocking every night. We are the white boys, 'cause we are the Laker white boys.
All right, lace them up, sports. Let's go.
Let's go. The LA Sports
Roundup podcast.
Stand tall and win back-to-back titles. Pulls back, three-pointer, bang! Luka Doncic nails the three. Timeout Rockets. Luka Magic is alive. Is he in? Yes. Touchdown, Puka Nacua. Touchdown, LA. Final seconds, Reeves. It'll count if it goes. Oh, he puts it in from half court at the buzzer. Under pressure. Donald got there in the air, intercepted by the Rams, and they may ride to the Super Bowl on that.
You see a guy with a Celtics jersey at Disneyland, I'm ready to kill him. Just because he's wearing a Garnett jersey, and I'm pissed.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the LA Sports Roundup podcast. I'm your host, Mike Andrade, sitting here recording Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. Hope you guys enjoyed that little Backstreet Boys parody, little clip I put at the beginning of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to hear the entire song, you can go onto our YouTube page. It's posted on there, or you can go onto our social medias as well. You can check out all of our social media content at Lace 'em Up Sports. You can find us on Instagram, on X, obviously on YouTube. If you're listening to this, either you're listening to this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, either way, subscribe because you are not going to want to miss a single thing from Lace 'em Up Sports. Also, this upcoming Saturday and Sunday, Ryan and I from Wrestling with Ryan and Mike will be live streaming after the shows of night 1 and 2 of SummerSlam. We'll be live streaming on TikTok, and then we'll be putting up podcasts after every night of SummerSlam this weekend, so don't miss it. Guys, we have a lot coming up, so you're not going to want to miss. Subscribe, like, do whatever you can to not miss a thing. Now, obviously, since the last time we had recorded, former Laker, former future Hall of Famer Laker LeBron James, he has decided, he had made his decision. Last week, he made it official on Friday that he was joining the Philadelphia 76ers to team up with Jaylen Brown, to team up with Tyrese Maxey, to team up with EJ Edgecombe, to also team up with Joel Embiid. Guys, this roster, this Philadelphia 76ers roster, on paper is stacked. And you know what? I can't blame LeBron James for wanting to join a roster like that. He is in the final phase of his career, and he owes nobody anything. This guy is a future Hall of Famer. He owes nobody anything. And for him to ring chase like that, that's his decision to go and ring chase. And you know what? On paper, they looked stacked. And look at, as a Laker fan, we have seen it time and time again. We have put so many teams together that have failed, right? Remember the 2013 Lakers where we had Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Kobe, Pau Gasol, Metta World Peace. That team barely made the playoffs. Okay, and then Kobe tore his Achilles, we know that story. But Steve Nash was horrible. He broke his leg at the beginning of the season, and he was a shell of himself going forward. You know, you think about just a few years ago with LeBron James, with Anthony Davis, with Dwight Howard, Rajon Rondo, Carmelo Anthony. Who else is on that team? Russell Westbrook. How could we forget Russell Westbrook being on that team? That team went absolutely nowhere. They were god-awful. On paper, you look, that was the 2013, 2014, 2015 All-Star game, roster right there. But, when it came down to it, that team had no chemistry. That team couldn't get on the same page, and the team was old. I'm not calling Philadelphia old, but let's see what kind of team chemistry they're going to put on the floor. And so, yeah, I wish LeBron James nothing but success. What I am upset about as a Laker fan, and I will be dead honest, is that the deal he signed with the Philadelphia 76ers, it's a direct slap in the face to the Lakers organization, Laker fans. And hear me out. From day one, when LeBron James signed with the Lakers catered to LeBron James. They catered to Clutch Sports. They catered to his team around him. They catered to every wish and demand LeBron James set forth. And rightfully so. LeBron James came to the Lakers in 2018, and the Lakers were nowhere, right? We had a bunch of young players that had no direction, okay? LeBron James didn't have to come to the Lakers. LeBron James chose the Lakers. And so, rightfully so, LeBron James was going to rule the roost in terms of what direction the team was going to go. And obviously, we got Anthony Davis. We traded away those young guys. We got AD, and it paid off. We got paid off with a title. And you know what? We don't need to get into the bubble or whatever it was. It was a championship, okay? And so, LeBron James earned a championship in LA his second year in. And look, if you earn yourself a championship year 2 in, you have more than the right to dictate what kind of direction the team is going to go in, because LeBron James already paid off what he set forth coming to the Lakers, which was a championship, okay? But after that championship, I feel like things changed, right? We can go into the Russell Westbrook situation where it failed. Westbrook was a disaster with the Lakers, and LeBron James had no accountability for bringing in Russell Westbrook, because the Lakers were going to go in another direction. And when LeBron James went to management and told them to bring in Westbrook, that changed the direction of the team. Okay, and LeBron James had no accountability in that, and that's something I feel like where the cracks in the pavement started to really go forth in that relationship. Now, obviously, LeBron James was still LeBron James at that point in 2022, 2023. And hey, we even got into the Western Conference Finals under Darvin Ham and AD and LeBron, and that was great. But then that's when LeBron James really started to flirt with retirement, and we weren't quite sure which direction LeBron was going to go in and year out. He kept playing hot potato with it. Am I going to retire? Am I not going to retire? And he really kept the Lakers at limbo of which way he was going to go. We didn't know whether he was going to retire or not at any point after 2023, 24. He did sign contracts. He signed extensions in 2021. He signed extensions in 2024. He signed another extension up until last season when he let his contract run out. And that was the first time he had done that since he left the Cavaliers in 2018. But the point I'm trying to make here is that LeBron James kept signing extensions, right? And so then he kept signing max extensions as well. So really kept the Lakers, their hands were tied in terms of what they could do. If LeBron James wanted to go to the Lakers and say, hey, I'm going to take a pay cut for you to bring in player X, player Y, right? He could have done that. He could have looked at the situation and he could have said, man, I'm making billions of dollars, and I'm not going to tell you that, because he's a $1 billion athlete, he needs to take less. But he could have. That's the thing. He could have. He could have went to the Lakers and said, I'm going to take less money for you to bring in more players for us to help us build for a championship. And he definitely could have done that last year, right? And I get it. The whole dynamics of the Lakers bringing in Luka Doncic, right? The shift was there. The shift was there to make their entire focus around Luka Doncic going forward the next 5 years. But LeBron James, his ego got in the way of all that. LeBron James is so used to him being the focal point and the center of attention and the darling that he couldn't just take a back seat and take a pay cut and help build a team around him with this organization. He felt like the Lakers organization owed him a max contract. He felt like the Lakers organization owed him the center of attention, which was not the direction you wanted to go if you're the Lakers. You have this 25-year-old, 26-year-old superstar athlete here in Luka Doncic, right? And I get LeBron James is still a great basketball player, right? He's still putting up all-star numbers. But if you have a 25, 26-year-old, you don't go with the 42-year-old, okay? That just doesn't make any logic. Doesn't make any sense. So, of course, the Lakers were going to pivot in a direction that was going to benefit Luka Doncic and making him the star attraction for the next 5 to 10 years. That's just common sense. Any NBA team would do that. He was looking for the Lakers to say, hey, you know what, you're LeBron James, and yes, you brought us a championship, but we're going to still continue to offer you a $50 million contract. I think genuinely he felt that way, because look at the decision he made. He signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. Think about that. Think about that in your head. Try to wrap that around our heads right now. A 2-year, $8 million deal. Essentially, the Philadelphia 76ers got LeBron James for free. They got him for free. They literally, $8 million to LeBron James is us finding a $50 bill in our pockets. You know, it's a $50 bill. It could maybe buy us some things, right? But that's $8 million to LeBron James, right? It's nothing to him. Okay, he signed that contract to spite the Lakers. LeBron James could have easily taken that $8 million with the Lakers, and he could have built a championship team for this season. He really could have. He could have fit in like a glove with this team. With the signings we were able to do, but the people that we were able to bring in, the guys like Mamu and Colin Sexton and Quentin Grimes, of course Walker Kessler, LeBron James, he could have slid in easily with this team, and we could have been, I believe we could have been up there with, and we still are. The Lakers are going to be competitive in the Western Conference this year, but I feel like if LeBron James rejoined this team for this season, we would have been considered one of the top favorites for the Western Conference, and he knew that. LeBron James knew that, but it wasn't about the basketball for LeBron James. As much as he wants to say, it wasn't about the basketball with the Lakers. He really took what the Lakers did personally, and he really felt that it was to spite him. He felt like the Lakers not making him a priority. He felt like the Lakers not making LeBron James a max contract offer. He took that really personally, and he said, F those guys, right? And he could have signed it anywhere, and he did. LeBron James is now a Philadelphia 76er. And look, it was about the basketball really for Philadelphia, but it wasn't about the basketball in LA, if that makes sense, right? Because if he wanted to, this team would have been a championship level team this year. For him taking the exact same money he did in Philadelphia, he could have taken that in LA, and I think our chances would have been just as good. But it wasn't about that. He took it really personally when the Lakers didn't make him a priority. So instead, he took it to Philadelphia. And yeah, look, that is a monster of a starting lineup that they have, right in front of them, right? So, yeah, granted, it is about basketball when it's elsewhere. But when it came to the Lakers, he took that really personally. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And you know what? That's a shame, LeBron. That's really a shame because, you know what? I feel like, a lot of our fans didn't appreciate you. But you also didn't make it easy for the Laker fans to make it so, Yeah, look, I'm always going to give you credit of what you did for us when Kobe passed away. But, buddy, that was 6 years ago, okay? I'm not a guy that's going to be, what have you done for me lately? But, I mean, seriously, let's look at what we did. We were bounced from the first round twice. He got us a playoff victory against the Houston Rockets. And yeah, he looked really, really good out there. But you know what? Granted, first round playoff matchups don't hang banners, okay? And we're the Lakers. We hang fucking banners. I hate to say that, but we do. We fucking hang banners, okay? Not about winning first round matchups. It's about winning championships. And look, we hadn't gotten there since really the bubble, okay? We went to the Western Conference Finals in 2023, and that's great, but it's not hanging a championship banner, okay? So I'm not going to say that LeBron James' tenure with the Lakers was a fail, because I don't think it was, but there was a lot left on the table, especially the last few years. And so LeBron James was great individually. The team wasn't. And so that's a lot to, you can put that on LeBron James' shoulder. You can. You absolutely can. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys we're going to win 5 championships in a row with Luka right away. It's going to take some time developing this team. And also, Luka Doncic, he has to prove himself this year. He has to have an MVP type of regular season. He has to prove it for maybe not all of 82 games, but pretty close. And he has to be healthy for us to be in good position for a playoff run. And we have to make a strong playoff run. That's what has to happen this year. Okay? I don't think the Lakers are going to win the championship this year, but we have to make a very strong playoff run. I think that's ultimately the goal and what we have to strive for. But Luka Doncic and also Austin Reeves, they have to be on the court for it. Luka Doncic has been a part of one playoff win for the Lakers. One. That was in 2025. He did not play at all during this past playoffs for the Lakers. Okay, and that's something, hey, look, if you want to give LeBron James credit, LeBron James' best ability is his availability, if you want to say. And so, maybe not in the beginning of the season, because he's going to take his time off. But LeBron James' best ability is his availability. I will give him that. But that's something Luka Doncic needs to have in the back of his head. Obviously, no Euroball this year. I think that's going to help. I don't think it's beneficial for these guys to be playing Euroball, then playing an 82-game regular season for their club and their team. That's not beneficial. And Luka Doncic needs to have a healthy and dominant year to prove that he is the right choice. And the right choice that everyone thinks he is. But he needs to prove that. Alright, so bigger news heading out of the LA sports scene is that Lakers and Dodgers owner Mark Walter could be finding himself into some hot water as an investigation has been launched by the federal prosecutors and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. That's never good. It's never good when these people are investigating you. So what's going on here is that the SEC is investigating companies connected to Walter over approximately $16 billion in loans that allegedly are not properly disclosed as related party transactions. The focus is on two Delaware-based life insurance companies tied to Walter that reportedly loaned money to businesses affiliated with him or his holding company TWG Global. So what I'm going to do here is read you an article from the New York Post by Rebecca Borg. Basically, it says, an employee who raised red flags over suspicious revenue booking is behind what sparked a massive federal investigation into the billionaire sports mogul Mark Walter. U.S. prosecutors are probing the owner of the LA Lakers and Dodgers after receiving information of billions of dollars in profits had allegedly ended up in his insurance company's accounts. It's since been revealed that the informant who tipped authorities off about the matter was reportedly one of Walter's own employees, acting as a whistleblower. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, alongside the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, are investigating about $16 billion in loans for Walter's conglomerate, TWG Global, were channeled through a third party before dropping onto his insurance company's balance sheets, according to the Wall Street Journal. Investigators are working to determine whether Walter or his company had committed any fraud. But TWG Global denies any wrongdoing, with a spokesperson saying Walter and the company have always acted in good faith. Those who have done business with Mark know him as an honest and straightforward person. Nothing about these transactions was any different, the spokesperson said. We are confident these matters will be resolved favorably, and TWG Global is cooperating with the authorities on the investigation, which was disclosed by Walter's insurers in June regulatory filings. The investigation comes amid a regulatory crackdown on private lenders granting loans to businesses, which has become a massive pain point for banks. Life insurance companies, such the ones as Walter runs, are bankrolling the private credit industry. Walter, who has an estimated net worth of $7.3 billion according to Forbes, has become a prominent figure in the sports world following his success on Wall Street. Alright, so I'm going to end that right there. Basically what's going on is that Walter is he's under investigation for fraud if these things to be found true. If he is laundering this money into his private accounts, that is no bueno. That's not going to be good for him. That's not going to be good for the Dodgers. That's not going to be good for the Lakers. Having an owner that sits time in prison, or even if he does any time, is found guilty of any of this, I mean, that could have some really damaging ramifications if he is found guilty in all this. I mean, both leagues, the MLB and the NBA, could basically put their foot down and demand the sale of the Dodgers and the Lakers. They could. If he is found guilty in money laundering like this, I mean, he could be forced to sell. Look what happened. I mean, you've seen it all throughout sports history, that teams can force owners to sell if they find themselves in trouble. So this is not good for Mark Walter. This is not good for the Lakers. This is not good for the Dodgers. Not good for the Sparks either, because I believe Mark Walter is he's one of the controlling owners in there as well. My prediction is that this investigation is going to take a long time. It's not going to be overnight or anything like that. We don't have anything necessarily to worry about right now, but down the line, if Mark Walter and his company TWG Global is found guilty in all this, then ramifications can be very, very stern and be very, very big in terms of both leagues demanding the sale of the Lakers and the Dodgers. But that's kind of far out right now. What really needs to be figured out is he guilty in this? Is he not guilty? And just trying to figure out the investigation by the SEC. All right, so the Los Angeles Rams have officially opened up training camp at Loyola Marymount University, and there's no shortage of storylines for the LA Rams. We have a legitimate Super Bowl contending team, one of the deepest rosters Sean McVay has ever coached, and one of the deepest rosters in NFL history, if you ask me, and brand new alternate uniforms. And somehow the biggest headline isn't even on the field. We all know what it is. It is future Hall of Famer, the greatest Ram of all time. That is Aaron Donald. And let's dive into everything that's been happening at Rams camp. Aaron Donald, look at the rumors on him coming out of retirement and rejoining the Rams alongside Myles Garrett, alongside a great defense that the Rams have, the best defense the Rams have had in many, many years. Those rumors are continuing to heat up. Head coach Sean McVay was asked about Aaron Donald's potential comeback, and he said this: he's going through a process. He's earned the right to be able to do that. Aaron is very diligent. He's going through a very strict, regimented process, similar to what he did when he played, to see how his body responds and feels. That quote basically tells you everything you need to know. This is not a publicity stunt. Aaron Donald was seen on the field of the Rams training facility, going through drills, going through what he would need to prep his body to come back. Okay, he's prepping his body to endure another NFL season. I feel like, and if you ask me, this is my personal, my thoughts and opinions, he's already made up his mind. I feel like Aaron Donald is 100% coming back. I've already talked about this on another podcast. It's just a matter of getting himself in tip-top shape until him announcing it. And I feel like the announcement's going to come very, very soon, if you ask me. It's not going to be delayed. It's not going to be right until the start of the NFL season. People are going to know. People are going to know probably within the next couple weeks. Definitely. I mean, there's no way that Aaron Donald is doing all this just to be like, you know what, guys, never mind. I'm not gonna come back. He's prepping his body. He's 35 years old. Yeah, granted. I mean, that's not old, but that's old as a pro athlete, if you want to say. But look, you give it one more year. This guy's in tip-top shape already as it is. All he has to do is just throw the pads back on and get himself used and calloused to taking hits with some pads on, some tackling, some bumps here and there. That's all he has to do. Just getting his body right. And it's not like he's going to be thrown out there every single play either. This Rams defense, the defensive line is dominant. And he's not going to be the focal point. And if he is the focal point, that's great for the Rams because, that's going to open up everything else for the other guys. And then the attention is going to be on them. So really, side by side with Myles Garrett, having guys like that on the defensive line, it's just going to make things very easy for Donald to make that transition back into playing pro football. This guy he's a one of a kind, so it's not going to take very long for him to get his body back in shape, and the Rams are going to be very, very lenient and very kind to allowing that process to take place. So yeah, when you got Myles Garrett and a guy like Kobe Turner and all the other guys like Brandon Fisk, Puna Ford, Landman, it's going to make things very, very easy on Aaron Donald, and I feel like he's already made that decision. Okay, so I feel like give it a couple more weeks, and we are going to know for sure that Aaron Donald is back with the LA Rams. But let's talk about the offense. Matthew Stafford, he's looking ready. Away from the Donald speculation, there's been plenty of optimism surrounding Matthew Stafford. McVay praised his quarterback after practice, saying that Stafford looked pretty damn sharp. Remember last year, in training camp, Matthew Stafford didn't practice at all. He was suffering from, back spasms, or he was a back injury. And so Matthew Stafford really didn't have a training camp. And he ended up having an MVP-type season. So I feel like with a training camp under Matthew Stafford, it's really going to keep him in that MVP-type of form. And I think that it's going to be a really, really another good season, another great season from Matthew Stafford. And you know what? The Rams are wisely managing Stafford's workload during training camp as well. Now, one thing I wanted to get into with the Rams offense, and it really has nothing to do with football in a sense, but it has more to do with the player's contract, and that is our star wide receiver, Puka Nacua. Nacua has not been given a full extension by the Rams, a contract extension, which is on par with what JSN from the Seahawks got, which was a 4-year, $168.6 million contract extension with the Seattle Seahawks. That is what Puka Nacua is expecting the Rams to give him. That is going to be on the table, but has not been given because of Puka Nacua's off-the-court issues. The first one was with some streamers, and he said some anti-Semitic things, and that got out, and that was resolved in a sense, and that shouldn't have happened. But the bigger thing that happened was an off the field issue in which Puka Nacua bit a woman that was he was dating, or whatever the case was. It was in a car. Puka Nacua ended up going to rehab, and that was a whole situation in itself, and he definitely has made amends for that. But the off the field issues have definitely bitten Nacua in the ass in terms of the Rams giving him a full contract extension. Now, Nacua, he is practicing right now. He is in training camp, and the question is, should he be? Because, God forbid, knocking on wood right now, something happens where he gets hurt, then that contract extension would be out the window for sure. And so, should Puka Nacua be practicing and playing through training camp right now? I don't know. That's a big decision that Nacua and the Rams, they ultimately feel like it's beneficial for Nacua to be out there. And obviously, look, he wants to put all that stuff from off the field behind him. And look, I think he is in a position where he can, and I think just given some more work that those things can be put behind. But man, that is a big thing, because contracts are everything in the NFL. Contracts are everything. Money is everything, and you do not want to jeopardize anything, especially when you are on par with being paid at the top position of wide receiver with the guys that are at that position. And so, Nacua, he is by far, if not one of the best, if not the best wide receivers in the game right now. And so, look, you don't want to jeopardize anything. You don't want to jeopardize your chance of making big-time money in the NFL, and that's something that he has to work around right now. And I am fully confident the Rams and Nacua are going to come to an agreement before the season starts. I think that's, the inevitable. I just think that, it's a very questionable decision for him to be practicing right now, especially if you take how physical Nacua is out there. There was multiple points last season where we thought he was going to get injured, and he did get injured. He ended up coming back, but he is a very physical player out there, and he takes a lot of risks out there every time he steps on a football field. And so those are my thoughts, those are my opinions. I don't think either one is right or wrong. I just think it's up to question to whether or not he should be on the field right now. In some lighter news for the Rams have also unveiled 2 brand new alternate uniforms. They have generated a ton of excitement with fans. The first is called Classic Soul, a modern tribute to the franchise's 1951 championship team. The second is the Fearsome White uniform, inspired by the legendary fearsome foursome defenses that defined Rams football decades ago. It's a really smart move for the Rams to play into their past, of the LA Rams past. Instead of creating something completely futuristic, the Rams leaned into their history, and they blended a classic Rams identity with modern design elements, while continuing to brand the new logo into what they have into this upcoming season. And so, judging from online reaction, fans really like them. My personal favorite is that Classic Soul one. I think I'm going to be, if I do get a new jersey this season, it's going to be that Classic Soul. Before we close today's podcast, the Dodgers are really not expected to make too much noise going into the trade deadline. That is August 3rd. Obviously, the big rumor, the big talked about acquisition could be Tarek Skubal from the Detroit Tigers. That's been talked about for quite a while now. I don't know if that deal ends up happening. If it does, that would be tremendous for the Dodgers. Obviously, we have guys like Edwin Diaz, Kike Hernandez, Blake Snell are expected to be back, and especially Hernandez, who returned to the team on Tuesday. And so, adding a guy like Skubal, should he become available, that would take the Dodgers into the next stratosphere And man, him being another not a closer, but starter for the Dodgers pitching staff, pitching lineup, that would be incredible going into the postseason. But it remains to be seen if something like that's going to happen. If anything big does happen, we're definitely going to talk about that on next week's podcast as well. All right, so that's going to close today's podcast. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. You can obviously listen to everything we have on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and again, follow us on our social medias as well. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in for today's podcast. You can't do it without you. So until next time, I'll see you guys. This is Lace 'em Up Sports Media.